another episode of Selling Hobson by the Pound. And this is a down and dirty version, given that it's obvious that I look a little bit like a homeless person. So it's a fact that I went hiking today and didn't get a chance to shower yet, and this video is due, so here we are. Anyway, the exciting part about this is that I looked through the offering this week on test pressings and some really amazing things. And before I start with these, I just want to say, for those people that may not know, that in the 80s mainly, would be the mid 80s, I started going to London quite a lot, about probably 3 or 4 times a year at least, and then thereafter quite a lot more than that, maybe once a month. When I was living in the East Coast at the time, and I had this store called Hobson Ultimate Sound, it was kind of the pre-Classic Records days. Although I did some trips over there during the Classic Records days as well. But the substantive era of my collecting some of these, what I'll show you to be like these EMI records and so forth, came during that period. And I think I mentioned briefly that that was a period where there were a lot of people coming over, mostly dealers from Japan and Korea, in search of these original pressings from the UK, both Decca and EMI and others, that never were ever exported to Asia. And so these dealers would literally come in and just like a locust, literally there'd be nothing left. And so I remember times where I would be there and someone would say, oh, Mr. Sung from China, from Korea is coming next week. And I go, oh my goodness, I better get what I can. Or sometimes I came the week after Mr. Song was there, and it was like, so what happened? Oh, Mr. Song was here. So as I've said before, these records are incredibly rare these days because a lot of them left the country, left the building, right, like Elvis, and ended up in Asia. And I don't think that those things ever really get offered up. I think Asian collectors covet them and hold on to them and whatever. So I guess what I'm saying is I was there at a very fortuitous time and was able to get this stuff. Now, it's just impossible. The only way to find this stuff is, on collectible websites and that sort of thing. And the prices have just continued to escalate over time. So my advice is, if these are things you're interested in, don't hesitate, okay? Anyway, all of that said, I just want to give you some background in terms of my recollection of how I collected back in the day. And it was exciting, really, it really was. So here's a batch of these EMI or His Master's Voice pressings. These are original pressings, and remember, this is what they call white and gold label pressings, all right? And you can see what that means. It says His Master's Voice. Of course, they're EMIs, but His Master's Voice is the trademark for the Dog and Horn, which EMI owned in Europe, not in the United States. And that's why, and you'll see, I think I've shown before, that there are some pressings that have like a sticker over the Dog and Horn, and that was to be able to export them to the United States because RCA owned the copyright. Anyway, that said, here's a beautiful copy of Thomas Beecham and the Royal Philharmonic doing Delius, Florida Suite, and Dance Rhapsody No. 2, Over the Hills and Far Away. Beautiful, beautiful pressing. I write, superb original pressing, white and gold label, nearly impossible to find. Beecham EMI recording is lush and beautiful. So there you go. Here's another Beecham. This must have come out of the Beecham section. Although, yeah, this is Bizet Symphony in C and Lalo Symphony in G. Beecham conducting the Orchestra Nationale, a French orchestra. And I write, stunning EMI recording with Sir Thomas Beecham at the podium. Sound is rich and deep with string tone, lush and detailed. This first pressing, white and gold, is near flawless with such quiet surfaces that the music seems to jump out of a silent background. Awesome dynamics. It doesn't get any better than this. I am bent to extremes sometime, but I promise you in this case, when I listened to this, it was really quite a delight. So somebody's going to get lucky with that. Here is, we had a copy of this last week, I think, but was a reissue from one of the audiophile labels from the original masters. But this is an original white and gold of Paul Tortelier doing the Brahms Double Concerto with Christian Ferras, and the Beethoven Sonata Number 1 with Ferras as well. White and gold label, gorgeous sound on this original white and gold pressing with very quiet surfaces. Near impossible to find a copy of this caliber. Recording is lush and dynamic, showing off the EMI sound to its fullest. Both violin and cello are highlighted perfectly and sound, quote, in the room. Absolute highest recommendation. I think that's the highest I give. Beautiful, beautiful copy. Impossible to find now. Here's La Louisiane Suites, Bizet, Beecham, again, Royal Philharmonic, white and gold label, as you can see. Fantastic original first pressing, white and gold, which has very quiet surfaces, very dynamic recording. Impossible to find a better copy. Again, top recommendation. So this is the real heart of the collectibles, I should say. Another Beecham, so-called lollipops with Sir Thomas. Looks like he's just had a cocktail there at the seashore. Favorite pieces of Sir Thomas Beecham. Again, white and gold, magnificent, I say. Original pressing, white and gold label, very quiet surfaces. Beecham at his best, in my humble opinion. With a selection of favorites captured perfectly by EMI recording team. The sound is lush and dynamic. Here we go, one of my favorite sayings. Wow sound. Rare first label copy, top recommendation. Man, goodness gracious. Here we go with, it's a Beecham Fest. Let's just say this week is a Beecham Fest on test pressings. And this is a rare first pressing. He's doing Delius here. He's a big Delius conductor. Rare first pressing, white and gold, this venerable Beecham EMI recording. Nice copy with some surface noise that does not distract from the music. Top recommendation. There you go. Beecham Lollipops. That was the last record. This is Beecham does Delius. Okay, another white and gold. Goodness gracious, we're just overrun with fun this week. Ephraim Kurtz, Philharmonia Orchestra doing Prokofiev, Classical Symphony, and Shostakovich First. Extremely rare original white and gold label pressing. Great recording with big dynamics. Copy plays VG with some surface noise that does not distract from the music. Again, beautiful thing. Here we go. This is a second label. You can kind of see that. Elgar Symphony Number 2 with Barbaroli. Huge sound EMI recording. Early dog label pressing, plays with very quiet surfaces. Shockingly dynamic recording. Top recommendation. So there you go. Now we're into the postage stamp dog pressings, which are later. Not all, the white and gold did not persist forever. So this was probably an original pressing of this. This is a nice record. Beethoven piano sonatas. So solo piano. The first piano sonata in F minor, and the seventh in D minor with Stanislav Richter at the piano. Beautiful piano recording. Sounds like Richter is in the room. Very quiet EMI pressing. Top copy, highest recommendation. Oh, I love Riccardo Muti. Such a great conductor. He was the principal at the Philadelphia Orchestra a little later on, but here he's with the Philharmonia Orchestra doing Beethoven Piano Concerto Number 3. Again, Stanislav Richter at the piano. Richter, Muti, Philadelphia. Actually, I'm wrong about that. It's Philharmonia, not Philadelphia. I need to change that. Are a beautiful mix doing Beethoven Piano Concerto Number 3. Great acoustics, getting harder to find original copies in this condition. So I love the Muti recordings. Here is another, I had a couple of these, the Alto High Fidelity reissue of this famous HP Super Disc list title, Rachmaninoff the Bells with Previn. And this is on the TAS Super Disc list. This is a test pressing copy. Oh goodness, look at that. There you go. Test pressing copy that Alto High Fidelity distributed Classic Records for a time. And so Joachim Bosa, who has passed now, was in charge of that company, and he would routinely send me test pressings to evaluate and give him feedback on, and this is an example of that. Test pressing copy, never played, cut from the original Analog Masters. This is a collector's item. Here we go with Karajan in Berlin, doing Bruckner, Symphony No. 8, 2-disc set, EMI repressing that has near silent surfaces with big sound. Karajan and Berlin have this music in their blood, and it comes out in this recording. I say beautiful copy. Cherubini Requiem. This is Riccardo Muti again, and we've got the postage stamp dog label with the new Philharmonia Orchestra. Giant EMI Muti recording with hair-raising sound quality. Ambrosian singers are so beautiful and harmonious. Top recommendation. This is a record you do not see very often. Last couple of items that I'm going to talk about this week. This, of course, is one of those London bluebacks. Remember the light blue, baby blue back on this? This was a Decca recording that they pressed in London before the Decca SXL pressings so that they could ship these over to the United States under the London label and bring them out here in advance. Ansame Scheherazade, famous performance of this. You don't see this very often. Nice copy. And last, we have a Josh White program. This is on London, so this is an EMI recording on London Records released here in the United States. It says, beautiful voice reminiscent of Harry Belafonte, very jazzy orchestration, great recording. By the way, this is a mono recording, LL 1341. So this is something, I don't think I've ever seen more. This probably is the only copy I've ever seen. So anyway, I wish everybody good luck as always, and have a great week. Bye.